Hey guys, so I just wanted to take a minute to kind of tell my story with my depression and bipolar and suicidal period in my life. This is why it's so hard to talk about. I don't remember any of it, so it's really hard for me to tell, in a manic state of my bipolar, and so I'm gonna try really hard, but it might be kind of choppy and not make a lot of sense. I try so hard. I've made like 10 takes of this trying to explain it. I just don't know how to explain what was going on in my mind. This might be kind of awkward, but I'm gonna try to explain what I went through, and I haven't really opened up a lot about it, so here we go. So I was in this like picture perfect relationship where I'd met this guy, love at first sight. He like moved in with me. He was exactly like the picture that you doodle or like put your checklist of things you want in somebody. Like he was that, and we were super happy. And about 9 months into our relationship, I got my boobs done. Well, after surgery, things started happening like where like I was calling people and saying things that like didn't make any sense at all. Like none of it was relevant, but to me like it seemed like it made so much sense at the time. It was basically like a manic bipolar period, and it's a thing where you go through like manic highs and lows. And at this point, I was going through a very manic high. I was like super excited about like my relationship and my job, and I was just like on cloud nine. And also, I was experiencing catatonia, which is your brain just kind of freezes. And so I was like, I couldn't do any math at work, and I didn't know how to cook anymore, and I didn't even like know how to shower or anything. I was like completely helpless. My ex now took me to the hospital to figure out what was wrong, and nobody knew. I think that it may have been like the anesthesia or something that triggered like some kind of psychosis. But they put me on a shit ton of meds, and I don't even remember being in the hospital at all. At this point, I still didn't realize like I was going through anything major. I just thought that like everybody was crazy and everything was fine. We tried to keep it really secret, like we didn't tell anyone. It was just like Stephanie, where Stephanie, she's in the hospital, and everybody knew I just got my boobs done, so everybody just thought something had gone wrong with surgery. Nobody knew like the background story of what had gone on, so nobody was like supportive of what was going on with me. Me being in the hospital just put a lot of stress on our relationship, and my best friend ended up moving in with my boyfriend, and that really sucked. She was telling people around town that they were sleeping together. I moved into my own apartment. I like started modeling more and like doing photo shoots. I think he thought that I was doing better, and so we ended up getting back together. But she ended up moving out, and I moved back in to his new apartment that he had moved into, like behind my back, basically. But this is more like the breakup side of the story, or like what led up to the depression. This isn't when I was actually going through depression. It ended up being like he was paying for everything on his own, and I wasn't helping at all because I couldn't hold a steady job. We had like separate bedrooms, and it really hit where it was like we're done. And there's actually a video, I'll post a link right here. We first decided it was official broken up, and I actually like start crying at the end of it and stuff. It was really hard for me to make. It was decided that I was moving out, so my mom was supposed to come get my stuff. I would be staying up all night long and like for like 3 days and not sleeping. And I had lost so much weight. I was like down to almost 110 at this point. Look in the mirror, and I just didn't feel like myself. Like it felt like dead. It was scary. It got to the point where he would like lock me out of his room, and I would just sit in my room and like cry. And like people had like seen on like my blog where I had been talking about like suicide, things in my notebook and stuff, like little like suicidal poems. I started actually like folding up my clothes and like categorizing it, of like trying to give all my stuff away. Like I had gone through that stages of it. Like I was dropping all these hints to my boyfriend, and he just like was completely shut off to it. He didn't care at all. Like there was one specific day that I remember coming downstairs and just like, because we had guns in the house but I didn't know how to use it, and so I was like, will you please just like help me so I can do this? Like, at this point you don't give a fuck about me, so just like help me out. And I was just like done. And so I guess he called my mom, and so my mom came down that she was going to take me to the hospital again. She was like, he wants you out, and I just didn't want to hear it. I was under this unrealistic expectation that once I started working again, that our relationship would be better. My mom goes to call the, like, I guess it's mobile crisis, they call it, or something, and it's where, like, if you're having some kind of episode or something and you need to be checked into a hospital, that you call and they come, like, pick you up, and you go through the whole evaluation of being admitted into the like a psychiatric hospital. And I was freaked out about her calling, and so I went to grab the phone, and obviously my nails are like this, so it like cut her hand a little bit, and she had said ow, or the people on the phone sent the police. I didn't get handcuffed or anything. They just put me in the back of the cop car, and I just rode to the police station like normal. They put me in this like waiting room for like 12 hours, and my mom was trying to bail me out like the whole time. I was terrified. I'd never been to jail before, and I hadn't slept in like 2 or 3 days. I remember my mind like spiraling into this like world of nothing makes sense or something. But they call you up to go like to get on the buses to go to the actual jail. I went up to the desk and I was like, my mom's supposed to be bailing me out. Like, I guess that I'm not supposed to talk to the officers or something. They just grabbed me and like slammed me up against the wall. And I have like fake teeth, so it freaked me out. Handcuffed me and handcuffed my legs, like my ankles, and they threw me in this like cell. And I'm like, Clay's gonna call my mom. I'm like bawling my eyes out. And they were probably like, this bitch. Whatever, this isn't gonna be that bad. Like, I'd never seen Orange is the New Black. I didn't know how this shit went down. Like, it was a misunderstanding. I was supposed to be going to the hospital, and it was like, it got mixed up. My mom's like calling the jail and trying to get them out, like, to let me out. And they're like, well, she's, you called her in as a suicide case, so we have to put her on suicide watch. Like, when they put you in the suicide room, it's like, this room with like just a bed and like lights, but they took all my clothes away and everything. Like, the most fucked up thing about it was door of the room that they put me in had I Heart Anthony carved on the door, and that was my boyfriend's name that I'd just broken up with. So that tripped me the fuck out. After being in there for 5 days, I started like hallucinating. I definitely thought that there were people guiding me to certain things or something. And like, there were like pictures on the walls that meant things that weren't there. They were white walls, like they would only show up at night. So here goes. At one point in time, I had thought that they were putting me in like a whorehouse, and there were different cells, and like you picked your girls, and that Saddam Hussein had bought me, so they were selling me to have sex with Saddam Hussein. And I had thought that like my boyfriend had come and bought me from Saddam Hussein, and like the whole time I was there, visualizing him like just giving up on me, and like how on earth am I supposed to make this video like 5 minutes? This is so much. The worst part about being in jail that I remember is my bed or whatever that I had at one point. They finally gave me like a regular room with bunk beds, and I remember laying there and like looking at the door, and they had like my little ID tag with my picture on it, and you're holding up this piece of paper. And at the time, like, I was blogging on Tumblr, like it was before I'd gotten out there with Charlie and stuff, but I had an online community that I was very close with. And so there's a picture of me holding up this thing, and I'm laying in bed and I'm staring at it, and all of a sudden it like morphs into, it's like on a laptop, if that makes sense. Like, it was like somebody webcam chatting with me, saying like, please get up, like you can get through this. And like, I remember just laying there and like I felt so dead, but I was like listening to it and I was like, I literally feel like I'm not gonna wake up right now, like it was so scary. Like, I'd like given up, like I was like, I'm done. And but I can like still visualize that, like yesterday, which clearly was not real, but that threw me into major psychosis. So then I like actually went to the hospital where it was like I needed to go, like, and I was never in like a floor where people have like major psychological like problems or anything like that. Like, it was just people with like, lower level mental disabilities. So it was just people going through like depressions and stuff. Like, I had been completely diagnosed schizophrenic, and I'm not schizophrenic. It was just the isolation threw me into a schizophrenic state. The doctors were like, didn't think I was ever gonna recover from it, and they loaded me up with like the highest dosage of medicine possible. I stopped taking my medication like basically cold turkey. My parents advised against it, my doctors advised against it, but I just kind of decided that I didn't want to do it anymore, and so I quit. It's not something that I suggest, because I don't think that that's medically correct, but that's what I did. My psychiatrist and everybody like insisted that I take it, and I was just hell-bent on stopping because I had gained so much weight. When I went to the hospital, I was like maybe 130. Got out of that hospital, the first time I went to the doctor, I was 145. Allison, I stepped on the scale, I was like 170 pounds. Like, this medication that I was taking for my bipolar fucked up my body. I'm like 5'3", so 130 is even still pretty big for me. Like, I'm 140 right now. Learn to just be comfortable in it. I love myself so much now after hating myself for so long. Then the first time I was in the hospital, I was 115. So we're talking within from December to August, in 9 months, I'd gone from 115 to 170. So that threw me into just shutdown. I like never left my house. I'd sleep like 13, 14 hours a day. I'd wake up and be like, "Ugh, it's 3 o'clock. Can I just sleep until 5 so it's at least dinner time?" And after dinner, I'd be like, oh, maybe if I watch a movie or two, that bedtime will come by faster. And like every day was like that. I play Sudoku or Monopoly, try to make the days go by faster. There was a very brief period where I did get into painting again. I'm very crafty and love doing stuff like that, and I had no interest in anything like that at all. Anybody that's gone through depression can relate to that. Just whole like, I don't want to get out of bed. But I mean, it literally got very serious, like 4 or 5 days out of the week that I would go to bed and just Google like how to what the easiest way or painless way, fastest ways to die are. And, I like had seriously considered, hanging myself or poisoning myself, or didn't know how to shoot a gun really, and I didn't want to have a failed attempt. And it got really scary. And then it got even scarier because it didn't scare me anymore. Refusing to go to any kind of counseling or take any medication. Like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I have no interest in doing anything. There's no motivation to do anything. I had no drive or no dreams or anything. It wasn't like when you're just annoyed and you're like, oh, I don't even want to do this. Like, I'm done with life. It was literally like, I don't even believe in God. And I had literally like, God, if you're real, just please, I'm begging you. Like, please let me die. Like, I was so unexplainably depressed. So I went home for a little bit. My mom, I think, had read my stuff online. Put some really dark stuff on my Tumblr. And so she was like, if I help you get an apartment, would that help? It literally like lit up my face, and she started crying. I work really hard. I pay my bills ahead of time and whatever, but I just fell off for a while. I mean, like I've always like had downtown apartments and lived on my own since I was like 18. Well, and I'm very, very fortunate because I know not everybody has family to help them, but my family helped me get on my feet. Just got back in my normal routine of working 5 or 6 days a week. The weight dropped off. I started going to the gym. Then I started modeling again. Now I met Charlie, and I'm in like a happier relationship really than I was before. So I don't know. I don't have like a secret like key to, if you're sad and you're depressed, like do this, it helps. It doesn't. It doesn't. I want to be motivating, but I'm being honest. Like if I was listening to this in the state that I was in and somebody was like, just go make friends, just go to the gym more, like just go work more, just go out to the bars. Like, it doesn't help. That I went out to bars. I didn't make friends. I went to work. I sat there counting the minutes. I went to the gym. I didn't see results. It depressed me even more. Like nothing fucking helped. But the only thing that I can say is to just remember that it can get better. And it might take 2 years like it did for me. It might take a year. It might only take a month or a day, or you never know. I can't imagine like taking my life back then and not experiencing everything I've experienced this year. Like, there's been some awesome stuff, and I would have never guessed that I would have had that. Like, literally a year ago, I was like at my end, Like, basically, what I'm saying is if there's like that slight possibility that maybe one day you can look back and be glad that you didn't do it. Like, if you guys are watching this, I'm assuming that you follow me, so you've seen how unbelievably positive and happy I am almost every single day, and that could be you in a year. I know that, I'm lucky to have some of the things that I have, and not everybody gets to live their life that way. But I mean, I come from a small town. I didn't come from a lot of money. It's all life's what you make it. And you just got to go out there and be confident and have the attitude that, you can have these things and you're going to have them, and maybe it'll happen. But like I said, I understand that it's really hard to be in that mindset whenever you are going through a depression or you have a mental illness. Just like hang in there. I'm not promising it's going to get better tomorrow or next year, but it will get better someday. I just want to give you all a big hug. Like, I just want to hug every single one of you. I actually got a tattoo to represent this point in my life, and it's a coffin on the inside of my arm, and it says the best is yet to come, and it's an anti-suicide piece that represents the best part of your life being ahead of you, so not to like look forward to death. And it's my most like symbolic, meaningful tattoo, and it's my favorite one. So I know that was super personal. Thank you guys for listening. If any of you ever need someone to talk to, I'm always on like Periscope or Snapchat, so just come say hi. And like I said, just hang in there because things will definitely get better. This one time, I read on the back of a Mariah Carey CD, at the end of every storm, there's a rainbow. And that's actually very good advice. I love that quote.